one more illustration, is the love that I got to see firsthand in such a powerful way in my own life. My mother had multiple sclerosis. I watched her deal with that all of my life. I'm an adopted kid. That's why they adopted me, because they couldn't have children of their own. And I watched that multiple sclerosis do its dastardly work. If you've seen it happen, you know what it can do over the years in her body. And I watched the last 5 years. I watched the last 5 years of her life that she was reduced to just laying on a bed. She developed something that people who have MS get toward the end called trigeminal neuralgia. It's listed as one of the 5 most painful conditions a person can have. It's where your brain messes up your sensory perception, and to touch just lightly on your hand, it would be, your brain would say that you were hit with a hammer. It's horrible. It's horrible. And I watched my dad, with every ounce of his energy, care for my mom, and my dad became the caregiver for my mom. And he changed the living room around, and her bed became the living room, and the house was built around her, and he lifted her out of bed, and he took her into the bathroom, he took her into the shower, and I watched him do it until it just became to where he could not do it. He could not physically do it with his strength anymore. At 74 years of age, he could not do it anymore. And we had to move her to a nursing home. And he sold his house. And the very next week, he moved into a little apartment building right across from that nursing home, where he went from a home to now he's in a little place where he has 1 bedroom and 1 little kitchenette. But he lives there because so every day he can get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and get showered and get dressed and get changed and have breakfast. And by 7 o'clock every morning, he was over at that nursing home. And he was sitting on the side of the bed, and he was holding her hand. And he was saying, I love you. We're going to get through this. I love you. And he would stay there every night until they would throw him out at 10 o'clock, and he'd kiss her and he'd say, I love you. And he'd go back, and it went over and over again until 3 years into it, my father had a stroke. And it reduced him to horrible measures. He couldn't speak, couldn't walk, couldn't talk, and now he is in the bed next to her. And I saw him work like I'd never seen him work before. Here's a healthy guy. Here's a guy who would, before all this and taking care of my mom, would ride his bike or run 5 miles every day. This was a healthy guy. And I saw him work his way back to where he could finally get out of that bed. And he could crawl his way over to my mom's bed and pull his way up into that chair and sit there. And though he couldn't say any word except cat, but he would sit there and he would look at her, and you could see it in the eyes. It was Storge. That's what it was. I will be here with you to the end. It's trust love. I was there the Sunday afternoon. God took Mom home. Dad was by her side when the nurses said she stopped breathing. And though we knew it was time, we knew it had to happen. It's hard to lose someone you love. And my dad pulls himself up from his chair, and here's a guy who can't speak. And he leans over her body, and then he kisses her. Her lifeless body, he kisses her, and he says, I love you. And David, he sang. He held her hand and he said, Jesus never fails. Jesus never fails. Heaven and earth will pass away. Jesus never fails. That is Storge. And if you're going to have a love that's going to last, it has to be part of the bonding process. There's one other thing you've got to have. You've got to have agape. And I know you may go, well, good, you finally got around to a spiritual one. That just always sounds so spiritual. I guess agape love. I just agape you. Agape is targeted affection. What's an example of it? Herein is love. Not that we love God, but that He loved us. That's agape. You did not choose me, but I chose you. That's agape. Agape love is one of the 4 ingredients that has to go into love. Bonding won't work. Bonding won't carry you the distance. Bonding won't carry you 23 years. It won't carry you 50 years. It won't carry, most of the time, it won't carry you 7 years. Agape is saying, yes, I adore you. Yes, we have commonality. Yes, I trust you. And there are all through this, there's ways that this is lived out. But I am going to now stand before God and witnesses and covenant. That's a word we missed today. That's another word we misunderstood. That I covenant to give you my love for the rest of my life. And when you squeeze all 4 and you mix them and you stir them, what begins to happen is the 2 become 1. And as the verse says, then what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. I'm not anti-sex. God designed sex. Sex is good. Sex is to be enjoyed. Sex is holy when it's done in proper perspective. But it's not love. There is a cleansing process. There is a process that I don't have time to show you tonight, but that is about re-virginization. And I'll tell you right now, until you can start into a relationship whole, you'll never be able to properly bond. Because this is so cheesy, but I'm going to show it to you. This is what I show to the kids. Okay? And I explain it to them this way. What happens is, people take their heart. And again, I know this is just a cheesy little illustration, but again, it's for teens, okay? It's for teens, but just so you can understand very quickly, people take their heart, and then they semi-bond with these people. They have the arrows with this person over here, and they give them pieces of their heart, and they see that person, they give them pieces of their heart, and they meet this person, oh, this person is great, and they give them pieces, and they go, oh man, this is the perfect one, this is the one I'm going to be with forever, and they give them personal, private pieces of their life, and they give it away, and now all of a sudden they've reached a point where they find the right one, and they start to bond properly. And then they end up standing and they go, oh wow, you're the one. Here, let me give you my heart. And that's what they have to give. And the problem is, that doesn't bond well. Because there's just too much hurt. And I wish I could just imagine. Wouldn't it be cool if I could just fold it up again and then go, woo, look at that, and everybody, but I can't. I got nothing. It would be cool though, I'm just saying. So there needs to be a re-virginization process that needs to happen with your singles before they can even begin to bond properly. Okay? There are all these roadblocks along the road, and I'm not here to pimp my book, okay? But do get it, okay? Really. Whether you buy it or steal it or call me and I email you an email copy of it, okay? And because I want you to get this information. I believe in this. I have seen this transform. Thank you, Tim.
Wow. Mike's going to be around for a bit, so feel free to go back there and chat with Mike. I do want to just let you know something about Mike Williams, and that is he does go across the country and do events, and he has this event for marriage and enrichment and relationship development that would really revolutionize your single adults.